fast hands who went on to win the IBO Junior Lightweight Championship and the IBF Featherweight Championship. One of Bankstown's favourite sons. Welcome to the show, Billy Dib.
Thank you very much for having me, Paul. How you doing?
Mate, I'm great. How you been, Billy? It's been a long time since we last spoke.
I've been well, mate. I'm just gonna bring one thing up. I'm not a Bankstown boy. I'm a Shire boy. Born and raised in the Shire.
Okay, I thought that was... You've always been in the Shire, haven't you, mate?
Yeah, I was born and raised in the Shire. You know what I mean? We grew up in Engadine, so... Well, I'm going to take the
Bankstown boy back then.
Take it back, mate. You can take it back.
Okay. We're going to start at the very beginning like I do with all my guests. How did Billy Dib get started in boxing?
Mate, it all came by accident, to be quite honest with you. It was nothing that I planned on doing, but just as a young kid, I went to school in Engadine, was picked on a daily basis. So Dad pretty much said, you know what, I'm going to put you guys in some after-school sports and see how you go. I enrolled in some football, and then one day just during footy training, the trainer pulled out some pads and some gloves, and I just decided to throw a couple of punches, and he said that he saw some talent there. And he asked me to tell my dad to take me down to the Sutherland PCY scene. So I guess that's where the dream started. I just walked into the gym and never looked back.
Wow, who was a trainer down there at the time?
The trainer down at the Sutherland PCY was Rusty Penton and another guy by the name of Eddie. So, okay. Yeah, but Rusty was the main trainer. Eddie was just his, understudy, you could say. Mm-hmm. And there was another gentleman by the name of Skip, an older man named Skip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, please tell us about your amateur career and some of your accomplishments.
Yeah, well, I started boxing as an amateur at the age of 12. I had my first fight when I was 12. Mm-hmm. And then piled on a record of 113 amateur fights.
Wow.
98 victories along the way, 15 losses. And obviously, representing Australia all over the world, was blessed enough to travel to Hungary, Cuba, under the Australian Institute of Sport, but went to so many different countries, Greece, Amsterdam, Russia. Had a great amateur career, and represented Australia all over the world. But unfortunately, just before the Olympic Games, I had a motorbike accident, and hindered my performance at the trials, and the dream of going to the Olympic Games was crushed due to a motorbike accident. But then you learn from your mistakes, I guess, and that's when I decided to turn pro from there.
Okay, before you turned pro, who were some of the big names in the amateurs you fought? I've seen quite a few of your fights.
I'll be honest with you, I pulled out some, like a list of the amateur fights back in the day when you used to fight in at the Acropolis Cup or whatever it was. You look at the list, people like Gennady Golovkin were there, people like Louis Beauty were there. So there was like some great fighters there. But in regards to fighting good fighters, I fought the Simeon brothers, who were from Romania. They were like pretty good amateurs. They went to the Olympic Games. In Australia, I fought Greg Eady. I fought Ryan Langham, who represented Australia at the Olympic Games as well. Yeah, I fought Joel Bunker. I fought them all, mate. I boxed them all. We all boxed each other, at some stage. I had a couple of good wins against, Shane Georges. I beat Joel Bunker pretty competitive, and so I had a pretty good run.
Okay, in August 2004, you made your pro debut against Chad Roy Naidoo at the Homebush State Sports Centre, and the Paul Briggs striped Jews undercard. What's your memories of that fight?
It was amazing. I was finally turned pro, and I couldn't believe it. I think I was just made for the pros at the time. Yeah. I was a bit of a lair as a kid, so I was a little bit cocky, and
not you, mate.
Yeah, righto. So, but when I first I was turning pro on the undercard of Paul Briggs' striped Jews. I was absolutely wrapped, and obviously the walk out to the ring, and I just soaked it all in, and then got in the ring and managed to score a 4-3 out TKO, which was a good way to start the professional career. I was absolutely wrapped. It was perfect, and I was just a good platform to start on. And the promoters were a promotional company from called D Rush Promotions from Australia. Mm-hmm. So, it was William Takataka and Steve Della were working together.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
so it was pretty cool.
It was pretty good. So the next 3 fights you won, and by your 5th pro fight, you've won the Australian Super Featherweight Championship with a second-round knockout over Junkstar Min. What was the feeling like winning the Aussie title in only your 5th?
Oh, I tell you what, it was, mate, I was absolutely electrifying, and I was so happy at the time when it happened. It was just, to be fighting Junkstar Min. He was coming off a pretty bad loss, I think, at the time to Rene Ganoi.
Mm-hmm.
But they threw him in. They didn't realise how good Ganoi was at the time. But Junkstar was still okay. He was not bad. And to get in the ring and be able to get him out of there in like 2 rounds was unbelievable. I was so happy, to be the national champion at such a young age, and only 5 fights into my professional career to have won the Australian title. I was absolutely wrapped.
What a buzz that would have been. So in 2000...
Mate, that's all.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just felt like boxing was what I wanted to do. And I felt like with these fights, I needed to win these fights, and I needed to win these titles in order to move forward with my and progress with my career.
Because you were going great. 2006, you signed with Golden Boy Promotions. Please tell us about your time as a Golden Boy fighter.
Yeah, so in 2006, when I signed with Oscar De La Hoya and Shane Mosley, that I locked into the Golden Boy banner, it was obviously just like a dream come true. And the way it all came about was just, again, just me chasing the dream. I went overseas, took some DVDs with me, and I gave a DVD to Oscar De La Hoya. I gave one to Shane Mosley, and got the call back from Shane to go spend some time with him in California. And I guess after a cool sparring session with Shane, he was pretty impressed. And, contacted Oscar and said, "Look, I've got this great kid, Danny," and he signed me up. It was a great start to my career for me, to get signed up by Oscar De La Hoya and Shane Mosley, and then my next 6 fights were on big cards.
Yeah. Well, in July 2008, you fought and won the IBO Junior Lightweight Championship with a close 12-round decision over the tall, lanky South African southpaw, Zolani Morali. What's your memories of that fight?
Oh, wow, man. Just the opportunity to win my first world title. And again, it was on the undercards, Anthony Mundine versus Crazy Kim in Newcastle. And I remember that fight clearly. I remember in the lead up to the fight, being on TV and Channel 9 and Channel 10 and all that, and basically saying, "I will not leave the ring. I'll die before I leave the ring, and I'm not leaving the ring without that belt." And then you get in the ring, and then Zolani Morali was so tall and lanky, and he was a southpaw, and it was such a difficult fight. It was a taxing fight. It was one of those fights where I put everything into it. I wanted to win so bad. It's like I felt like I nearly broke something inside my body to win that fight. And it was a tough night, and Johnny even gave me an option to, he was like, "Mate, if I throw the towel in now, no one will question you." I was like, "Oh, mate, don't you dare throw the towel in. I just want to win." And I grinded it out and got the win in the end. And what an amazing win it was, because Costa Zoo was there. You had Shane Mosley was ringside. It was just an amazing achievement for me. It was the start of something big for me, It
sure was. So in your next fight, you travelled to Atlantic City in the USA, and you fought for the WBO Featherweight Championship against Steve Laverno. Unfortunately, you lost a 12-round decision, and you suffered your first loss. Looking back, what went wrong in that fight, you think?
A lot of things went wrong, and obviously, I don't like to make excuses and things like that, but at the time, it was maybe 5 weeks out from the fight, and the fight was on, it was off, it was on, it was off. It was very indecisive. I didn't feel like I got the right campaign for that fight. And then, to be quite honest with you, coming off the Morali fight and being such a difficult fight against Morali, I just felt, like I said to you before, I felt like something was broken inside my body. I couldn't push myself to the point where, I wasn't willing to push myself to the breaking point against Laverno. And the truth be told, I was in the ring and thinking, I'll live to fight another day, and you can't do that in boxing. You can't think those. You can't think that you got to. If you want to win, you got to have the determination and the drive and know that you're going to win no matter what. But I wasn't willing to go to to that place in my mind to win against Stephen Laverno, and I just, it was a pretty lackluster fight, and to be quite honest with you, it cost me big in America at the time.
Yeah, I bet it did. Okay, in your very next fight, you fought the undefeated Davey Brown Jr. You dominated the fight, winning a 8th-round technical decision. What's your recollections of the Davey Brown fight?
Mate, Davey was a tough kid. He was undefeated at the time. He was 15-0, and he was pretty confident that he was going to beat me. He was looked after at the time by Bill Tracy and Gary Francisco down there at the Grange. He was really confident, and he said some things at the press conference. Going to beat me, and I said, all right, we'll see. Just turn up on the night and we'll see what's going to happen. And he turned up and I just mugged him. I just put the pressure on him and I mugged him, and I landed some good shots on him, combinations, and that. I just was breaking him down, and then fortunately for him, the referee stopped the fight because it was going to be damaged. It was coming into the later rounds, and I was starting to land that wheel, and the rest stopped the fight due to a cut, and that's why it was a technical decision. But really, it should have been a technical knockout, to be honest with you, because of the beatdown that I put on him at the time. God rest his soul. He's obviously passed away now. Davey's left us now, but at the time it was a good fight, and it was a good comeback fight for me. It was exactly what I needed. And Shane Mosley was there ringside supporting me, and I wanted to show that what happened against Stephen Laverno was just a unfortunate thing. I just didn't turn up. And I was lucky that, going into the Davey Brown fight, I had a new trainer. I just linked up with Billy Hussein, and, he helped me add a few things to my artillery, so, I was a good boxer, mover. Then Billy brought in, that side that I needed, which was to put pressure and break people down, and that's exactly what I did against Davey Brown.
Okay. In your next fight in July 2009, you fought Kenichi Yamauchi live on 1HD in a wild affair. You were initially awarded the win. Now, I remember this, Billy, but the decision was overturned to a no contest. You went down in that fight. How badly hurt were you?
No, to be quite honest with you, it wasn't that it was completely away from what you're thinking.
Yeah.
It's so crazy what happened in that fight.
It was crazy.
In the lead up to the fight, just a few days before the fight, I caught a cold, like a really, really bad cold, and I didn't take any medication because I was I was a bit worried about that. And then on the day of the fight, a friend of mine, who's my best friend today, he said to me, listen, I think you should take some Codral tablets, you know what I mean? And I was like, I didn't know about that. And he's like, just take some Codral, you'll be right. And so I took some Codral tablets on the way to the venue. Obviously, I was a bit congested and stuff like that. And then I get in the ring, and this Yamaguchi comes flying across the ring as soon as the bell rings, starts throwing these wild punches. And I try to keep him at bay, and then he obviously he was a little bit dirty. He wasn't I don't think he was doing it on purpose, but he was a little bit dirty. And then he went to throw an overhand right, and I went to duck it. And as I ducked it, he actually kneed me in the face.
Oh God!
Yeah, so if you go back and watch the fight clearly, you'll see he knees me in the face. And then when I went down, I was like, man, I've been knocked down. And the referee, I get up and the referee waves it off. It was less fear, and he waves it off, and I'm like, why didn't he count on me? And then Billy Hussein goes to me, run, you've been kneed in the face. So I start moving around, and then obviously I'm a bit buzzed, and then I'm sitting on the ropes, and then Yamaguchi, he doesn't hit me. He actually pushes me from behind the head to the floor, and that's when Les Feet put that. I think that was a first 8 count, a second one that I had in my career, because the first one against Morali. Yeah. They put an 8 count, which is no problem. But I'm buzzed, and I didn't know where I was. I had no idea where I was. I was so out of it. Obviously had the cold, being kneed in the face. Yeah. So I was a little bit concussed, to be quite honest with you.
Okay.
And then when I hit him, I hit him with the exact shot that Billy Hussein and I would been working on. Hit him with the right hand, turn to your right, and then hit him with the uppercut. And when I did that, but unfortunately, when I hit him with the uppercut, he was on the floor.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Obviously, and then a little bit of a little mayhem broke out, because the opponent approached me and sort of, it was like, what is it? And I pushed him away. I tell you, I was completely concussed. When I was walking back to the champion, I had no idea where I was.
Really?
Jeez. No idea.
Yeah. Okay, after the Yamauchi fight, you continued winning all your fights, and this resulted in another world title shot, this time for the more prestigious IBF Featherweight Championship against Mexican George Laverno. You defeated him by 12-round unanimous decision. That was on the 29th of July 2011 at the State Sports Centre. What's your memories of that fight?
Mate, the lead-up of it was amazing. As I said to you, after the Yamauchi fight, Billy was saying, I went on an amazing run, got some great wins.
You sure did.
And basically worked our way into the number one position. We were not going to be denied. I was coming off a really good win in Perth against Ricky Sismondo and going into the world title fight against Laverno. Like I said, we were not going to be denied. And before Laverno ended up being the opponent, there was talks of Gamboa. There was talks of Mikey Garcia. Mm-hmm. What happened was Gamboa was fighting Orlando Salido, and I was supposed to be fighting the winner of them two. But unfortunately, Gamboa didn't make the weight, and so the title became vacant. And next in line was Mikey Garcia. So then you had me versus Mikey Garcia in the makings. And then, through negotiation, Mikey and his team decided that they were not going to come to Australia. Yeah. And we were definitely going to win the post bid. I had some good people behind me who were willing to put the money up, and there was no way that Top Rank at the time was going to be able to, convince me to come to the US to find Mikey Garcia. So Mikey decided to pull out, and he went in another direction.
Okay.
And he fought, he went on and fought on a HBO card, and I fought Laverno. It was just what a night it was. To be recognised as the IBF featherweight champion of the world, along with the greats, like Jeff Fenny, Johnny Famechon in the featherweight division, and then you had other great champions in the past, Costa Zoo, Vic Darchinian, Anthony Mundine, but just to be in the list of, alongside these great champions, I was so proud and so happy.
Well, you're up there with him, Billy. Okay, in your first title defence, you took on the undefeated Italian, Alberto Cervia. You knocked him out in the first round. What's your recollections of that fight? What a performance.
I was saying at the press conference the day before the bout, I said to Laverno, bring Cervidi. His name was Cervidi. I said to Cervidi, bring a pillow because you're going to bed.
Yeah.
He said he laughed at me, and I said to him, you'll see tomorrow, I'm going to knock you out. And we got in the ring, and I just do this. As I was walking out to the venue, truth be told, Billy Hussein grabs me and he says, listen to me, get this guy out of there in one round today.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. And I just went out there, and I just felt like I could, whatever Billy asked, I always felt like I could deliver. I just had so much self-belief in him, and I knew the preparation that he and I had put in. And I got in there, and I just hit this kid with a body shot from hell, and I broke his rib, and at the same time I put him down on the canvas, and he was done for the night.
Okay, March 2002, you made your second world title defence over Mexican Eduardo Escobedo. You made
his name was Eduardo
Escobedo. You made him retire in the sixth round. Please tell us about that fight.
So there's a bit of history between me and Eduardo Escobedo. He and I were supposed to fight each other on the undercard of De La Hoya versus Floyd Mayweather. And unfortunately, the fight didn't end up happening, and I ended up fighting one of his friends. Then again, he and I were supposed to fight on the undercard of Joel Casameo versus Juan Manuel Marquez, but then Marquez injured himself. So the fight was going to be on. It was off. It was on. It was off. Yeah. Then finally, I become champion of the world, and he becomes the number one contender. So there's no getting away from him, and the fight's got to happen. And he was training under the guidance of a great trainer by the name of Nacho Beristain, who looked after Juan Manuel Marquez, Rafael Marquez. Great trainer, great technician, and I knew it was going to be a tough fight. So, but our game plan was to just obviously mug him, and that's exactly what I did. I really fought completely away from the style that I box. I put so much pressure on the guy, and Billy wanted me to get him out of there, right? So I just put so much pressure, hit him in the body, and on the day of the fight, so on the morning of the fight, day after the weigh-in, I went to the breakfast room, and I seen him at the breakfast room. He was having eggs and pancakes, and he was having the sloppiest breakfast. And I was like, you know what, this kid's not going to be able to take the body shots today. He was eating like he hadn't seen food in his whole life. So I was like, man, I want to hit him in the body, and that's what I did. In the end, when I stopped him, because he was talking about he's going to stop me, I said, why'd you quit? He said to me, the body shots were killing me. I said, oh, there you go.
Yeah,
so you said that I was going to run. I said, I turned it into a phone booth, and you couldn't keep up.
Yeah, they say these things to put you off your game, mate. But it doesn't work sometimes. Okay, it was around about this time that you signed with 50 Cents. Please tell us about how this came about and what went wrong in the relationship.
So, what happened was my next fight was against Juan Rodriguez, and it was a 10-round bout. It was a non-title defense, and it was at the Orient Center in Campsie. And during the fight was getting a bit tough, but my brother Emad, comes to the corner and said, listen, win this fight because I've got something big for you, you got to get the win.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting the win, and then Emad basically said, he's got to speak to me about something, and he held off, he let me go on my holiday, and during my holiday while I was overseas with Princess Mohammed, he contacted me and said, listen, I need you to get on a plane and go to Vegas. And I was like, what for? And he's like, 50 Cent and Floyd Mayweather want to sign you to TMT Promotions. Wow. And I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, just get on a plane. I said, listen, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to catch a flight back home, and then you and I'll catch a flight to Vegas together. So that's what I did. I ended up, the next day I flew back to Sydney. 2 days later, Emad and I went on a flight back to Vegas. We traveled business class. 50 Cent really looked after us, and then we arrived at the airport. We picked up by one of their team members.
Wow.
Taken to a hotel, and unfortunately, during the time that Emad and I were in transit, Floyd Mayweather had been incarcerated for domestic violence against his wife. They never thought he was going to go to prison, you know what I mean? But in the end, he did. He went to prison for domestic violence, and then 50 Cent was left to put the deal together.
Yeah.
And obviously, Floyd Mayweather had given him instructions. And so, we sat with 50, we put the deal together, we were all happy, we signed off on the contract, so the contract had my signature, 50 Cent's signature, but not Floyd's, because Floyd was at the time incarcerated.
Right.
And then, mate, we thought it was going to be all guns blazing, and then Floyd Mayweather got out of prison, he and 50 Cent had a fallout, and because I had signed the contract, and because I, basically, I was signed to 50 Cent, and I couldn't get out of it. And even though I tried to get out of it and move on to go with Floyd, it wasn't possible. It's like 50 Cent had me locked into this contract, and he was pretty confident that he was going to be an amazing promoter and going to do great things. And my whole thing was that, what do you know about the boxing world? But he was like, oh mate, I am an entertainer. I'm going to bring a crossover crowd. It's going to be amazing when I sell out venues. In the end, I agreed to go with him, and then basically Floyd Mayweather had me blacklisted from HBO and Showtime. So basically, at the time, Floyd had just signed a contract with Showtime and said to them that if they put Billy Dib on, he's going to pull out. Yeah. He's going to pull out the contract. So basically, I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Here I was. I'd worked my way back into being champion of the world. And then this finally happens, like you feel like you signed and you're going to get the opportunity of a lifetime, defend your world title. And Floyd and I shared a lot of conversations. It was very exciting, but in the end, none of it eventuated. Ended up signing with 50 Cent, and then, we ended up on ESPN on a Luz DiBella card. Okay. So Luz DiBella was the promoter. He was co-promoter with 50 Cent, and in the lead up to the fight against Gradovich, it was not supposed to be Gradovich in the ring. Firstly, it was supposed to be Luis Franco, who was a Cuban, and he was the number one contender. And I prepared for him, and then I think it was like 4 weeks out of the fight, he pulled out. And then, he wasn't happy with the money that he was getting paid, so he pulled out, decided that he was going to retire. Then they brought in another kid called Mauricio, I think it was Mauricio Herrera. He was from Argentina. And then again, he agreed to the fight. Then he pulled out. Then like 3 weeks after from the fight, they gave the fight to this kid, Evgeny Gradovich, who I knew nothing about. So I knew nothing about him.
You fought him in March 2013 when you travelled back to the USA. You lost a 12-round split this season.
Yeah, that's right. So, but it was just like a. The whole camp was just a weird camp. It was something I hadn't experienced. It was on, it was off, it was on, it was off, and then finally you get this Gradovich kid. By that time, I lost so much energy in the prep, just mentally. And then you get there, and then obviously, he was only 15-0, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to be all right, I'll box him. And I did, I was outboxing him for the first 5 rounds, and then, I don't think he did it on purpose, or it was an accident. It was definitely an accident, but as I was pulling out, he elbowed me in the back of the head.
Oh, God.
And, he split the back of my head open, and I'll tell you now, I was definitely concussed from that point, because the fight turned, and anyway, it turned into a rumble, but still, I thought I won, and 50 Cent thought I won. Lou DiBella thought I won. Everyone got in the ring and was like, you've done it, you won the fight. It was a great fight, great TV fight, which was an amazing fight for TV, but it wasn't an amazing fight for me because there was so much damage caused in the fight.
Okay, so...
And then I obviously they give the decision to Gradovich. I was shocked, could not believe it. One judge had me out 115, 113, and then the other two had it 114, 113. And if you look back at the fight in round 9, the referee deducted a point off me for supposedly holding, which I wasn't.
Yeah, right.
And so that was, in the end, that 1 point was what cost me the fight. I lost my world title on a swift decision, and I was heartbroken.
Okay, so you got a return match. You got a return match in Macau on the Manny Pacquiao Brendan Rios undercard. For the first time, you were stopped inside the distance in the 9th. Looking back, what went wrong in the rematch? A lot went wrong.
I mean, the preparation was great. I can't fault the prep. Billy and I prepared really well. We brought John Stephenson as a co-trainer.
Yeah.
I prepared really, really well. But there was some shady business definitely going on that night. Like from when I fought him in March to that point, he had become maybe 5 or 6 times stronger than that point when I fought him in the first fight. He was so much stronger, and I said to Billy, I said, listen, I think his gloves are loaded. And he goes, no, impossible. I'll watch him tape his hands. I said, there's something going wrong, Well, down the track, obviously you take your loss like a man. It is what it is. I said that I'd be back, and I did get back into it, and I did work my way back into a few more title opportunities.
Yeah.
But in the end, down the road, it turns out that Gradovich was using anabolic steroids and stuff like that. And he was caught on the Darko scheme, so I always knew he was dirty.
Did he get caught out?
He did get caught. Not on the night that he fought me, but he got caught out when he was going to fight. So
did he get banned? Did he get banned?
He got banned. He got banned.
He did get banned. For how long?
No, he got banned. He was banned for life.
Oh, right.
And he had an eye injury. But the other thing was that on the night of the fight when I fought him, he refused to take he refused to give a urine sample. So what does that tell you? I mean, I knew there was some funky business going on. And when he eventually got caught, it was sort of vindicated what I thought.
Surprised, eh?
No, not at all.
Okay, May 2015, you received another world title shot. You travelled to Japan to face Takashi Miura for the WBC Super Featherweight Championship. Unfortunately, you were stopped in the 3rd. What happened there, Billy? We're going to bring some wins up, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's fine. No. It's all good. It's all good because these are the fights that this is what happened in my career. These are the things that happened. But in the lead up to the Euro fight, you wouldn't believe it if I told you this, but I actually broke a metatarsal in my left hand.
Oh God!
As well as breaking my rib. 10 days out from the fight, I was sparring TJ Donaghy in my final spar. TJ was a southpaw, Miro was a southpaw, and TJ hit me with a body shot and broke my rib. And so I went into the fight with Mura with a broken hand. I had taken a cortisone shot to help that, but you can't take a cortisone shot in the rib, you know what I mean? And so obviously I went in with a few injuries, but no excuses. I was winning the fight. The first 2.5 rounds I was winning clearly. I was outboxing him, and then truth be told, I sat down in the corner in round 2 and said to Billy, this was easy work. You can't hit me. And Billy was like, mate, don't get cocky. If he lands a shot, and funny or not, the next round he landed a fucking shot from hell. And
why didn't you listen to your trainer?
I know. He turned you know what? Really, he turned my lights out, right? And I don't know how I got up. I'm not even sure how I got up, but I got up. Yeah. And I tried to bluff the ref into thinking that I was okay. And he says, "Can you come to me?" And I sort of, took a little stumble towards him. And he said, "No, you're not all right, mate." And that was it. He stopped the fight. It was devastating because I really wanted to bring that title home. I feel like the title has been very, elusive in Australia because Jeff Fennick was robbed against the Ziminowski years earlier. Mm-hmm. boxing for a WBC world title at super featherweight. So I thought this would be my chance to, right the wrongs and bring that title back home. And unfortunately, I came up, but.
You
That's
rebound.
boxing, isn't it?
It sure is, Billy, but you rebounded well after the Miura loss, staying undefeated for 3 years and having 6 fights. You won them all. It was a no contest. This led to another world title shot against American Tevin Farmer. This is where we teamed up for the IBF Junior Lightweight Championship. Unfortunately, you lost a 12-round decision. What's your memories of that fight?
I remember the prep being a really good prep. Jeff and I went to Thailand already. It was a big fight, obviously, to bring another world title fight back to Australia. I was so proud to have another world title fight in my own hometown. But, Farmer was just fully-footed, man. He was fast. He was a mover.
He was slick, wasn't he?
He was, and I thought that maybe, in hindsight, you've lost the fight, but, I thought that maybe I could have boxed him a little bit more, got on my toes, but I tried to implement too much of Jeff Fennick on that night. I tried to...
Hey, mate, you took the words out of my mouth. Too late to say it now, but I was there, mate. You should have boxed him more. It was a good fight. He was a slick mover.
Yeah, I got away from what made me Billy Dib, you know what I mean? I tried to become... I tried to...
You know it.
Yeah, I tried to do a bit of Jeff Fennick that night, and unfortunately, you can't become Jeff Fennick in one fight, and so...
No.
I lost that opportunity, and it's something that I regret a lot, because I feel like if I had a boxed and fought the way that I usually fight, I would have had a better chance.
Exactly.
Farmer wasn't a very, very heavy-handed guy.
No.
So I could have gambled with him a lot more. I could have boxed him, but trying to put the pressure on this kid, and that just sort of fell into the game plan of exactly what he wanted. But again, hindsight's a beautiful thing, but it is what it is. You've lost the fight, and you got to move forward from there.
Well, it was great working with you guys for that fight. And I honestly thought that was it. Billy Dib's career's come to an end there, but no, because you said to me that was it, but no, it wasn't. I heard you actually say it. The words come out your mouth. But in July 2019, you stepped up to welterweight to fight Amir Khan in Saudi Arabia. You were stopped in the 4th. Please tell us how you ended up fighting for Amir Khan and Amir fight. How did that come about?
It was never supposed to happen. It was never supposed to happen. It was just so what happened was after retiring after the Farmer fight, I had a couple of meetings with an uncle of mine, and just sort of told him that I wasn't happy, and I feel like I walked away from boxing too early, and I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve, and we pretty much talked about it, and I ended up coming back on a Billy Hussein show.
Yep.
I linked up with Billy Hussein again as my trainer, and I fought at Hurstville Entertainment Centre. I was supposed to fight a guy who was 34 on full, but unfortunately he didn't make it on the flight. So I ended up fighting this kid who was completely out of his depth, and got him out of there in one round. Yeah. And then Amir Khan contacted me and said, "Listen, I'm doing a show in Saudi Arabia. Do you want to fight on my undercard?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So I was locked in the fight on his undercard against an Indonesian kid. And then just, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks out from the fight, about 2.5 weeks out from the fight, Amir Khan's opponent supposedly injured himself in a motorbike accident. And then Amir Khan's manager flew to Australia and basically said, "Look, we need you to fill in." I was like, "Fill in for what?" He's like, "Amir Khan's opponent's injured himself, and we need you to jump in and fight me.
Why not?
You're the only other experienced guy on the card." And I was like, my response to them was, "You guys are crazy. I'm a featherweight, super featherweight, and he's a welterweight, junior middleweight. It's not going to happen. They'll never pass it." And he said, "Listen, they'll pass it. You just got to come in a bit heavy." And he goes, "You're the only other experienced guy on the card, and we can't get another fill-in. It's either you take all the shows off." And I said, "Why?" And he goes, You can't get into Saudi Arabia without a visa, and there's no way we can organise a visa for somebody to come fight Amir Khan in 2 weeks." So I was like, "Oh, mate." Anyway, so they offered me life-changing money, so I said, "Of course, I'll do it." You know what I mean? When they put the offer forward, obviously, no one believed it. Emad, who was my manager at the time, my brother, and a lot of people around me didn't believe it. Like, they didn't send the contract. When he sent the contract, the figures, everyone was like, "Oh my God, we're gonna take the fight." You know what I mean? It was obviously the biggest payday of my career, and it was seriously life-changing money. So and I felt like I earned it. You know what I mean? After all the hard work that I put in through my career, to finally get to that point and be fighting for this, amazing opportunity, to face Amir Khan, and I'll be honest with you. I actually thought, if I hit him, I might be able to get him out of there. So I went in there with the confidence I'm going to knock him out.
You've got it, haven't you? You've got it.
I didn't think I was going to lose, but obviously then when I got in the ring, I was like, man, this is David versus Goliath. He was a monster. It was a 10-kilo difference on the night of the fight. When we got to the weigh-in, WBC weighters both in, it was 10-kilo difference.
Wow. Okay, Billy, you're 36 now. How many more years do you have left in the sport? What I'm saying is, Billy, when is enough enough?
I wouldn't say that I have a long time left in the sport of boxing. Obviously, due to this COVID situation, it's really hindered the last part of my journey. I've managed to have 2 fights after the Khan loss, I had a good win against Van Tran, and then the last fight, obviously, just due to COVID, we had to bring an opponent because you can't bring anybody international. We had to fight somebody from home, and we ended up fighting a kickboxer, an experienced kickboxer, and fortunately for me, I got the win. I got the stoppage.
Mm-hmm.
And, if COVID wasn't around, I'd still be active. I might be fighting overseas. I might be doing something overseas. But obviously, due to COVID, I've just been stuck at home. And, I've been trying to land a big fight here. We tried to get Bruno Turimo in the ring. And his team was pretty much said they're not interested. They've got other plans for Bruno Turimo. So I've just been trying to land another big fight, sort of a...
Okay.
Finale.
You've answered my question. Billy Dib has not given it away yet.
Not yet. I got my plan is probably 1 or 2 more. Obviously, the next fight is going to be a big fight. It's pretty much a done deal, and the opponent is going to be very exciting. The boxing public in Australia is going to be. Wow. They're going to be astonished. I'm moving up to lightweight. So I'm moving up to lightweight.
Billy Dib moving up to lightweight. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I'm moving up to lightweight. I fought at welterweight, so lightweight shouldn't be that bad.
Okay. Prince, I've got to bring this up. Prince Nazim Hussain has had a big influence on your career, and he's a close friend. How did the friendship come about? And please tell us some of the stories your time with the Prince.
Yeah, so I met the Prince when I was 17. 17 years of age. Again, it was just by chance that I met him. It was I had good people around me, like Adam Hooter and that, who had sort of, put the link together. And I flew over to England to spend some time with Nas, and it was a friendship that lasted forever. We've just been mates ever since, and he sort of helped guide me throughout my career and gave me advice, and was always there for me as a friend, as a brother. And during some difficult times in my life, after Sarah passed away, he actually travelled to Australia to spend some time with me, which is really cool. And then I headed back to the UK with him.
Wow.
So, he and I have had a great relationship. Now his own son's now doing boxing. They're getting into it. His young son Adam's going to be a star, I think. So. Okay. Wow.
He seems a great guy, Prince Nazim. What I've seen of him when you've been with him.
We've had a great friendship for many years. So I'm blessed to call him a friend and a brother.
That's grouse. Okay, looking back at your career now, I can't say that looking back at your career because you're not done yet. Okay, so far, you got to laugh, Billy. So far, who was your rate as your toughest opponent? Without a doubt, the toughest fight and the toughest opponent that I've ever had was Alani Morali. I've always said it. Okay.
I tell you, if I wasn't willing to go to that place in my mind that night, I wouldn't have won that fight. But I was willing to go to the brink of death to win, because I just was not going to lose that world title fight in front of my family and my friends at home.
Okay, you've sparred heaps of rounds throughout your career. Please tell us about some of your sparring partners.
I've had some amazing sparring sessions. In regards to sharing the ring with some amazing fighters, starting from the top. Obviously, I've been in the ring with Prince Nassim Hamed.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the ring with Shane Mosley, and I've sent proper rounds of sparring. I'm not joking. These aren't just mucking around and sparring. This is real sparring, So to work with people like Shane Mosley, I've been in there with Oscar De La Hoya. I've been in there with Prince Nassim Hamed. And then obviously in Australian boxing, I've been in with some great fighters like Mundine, Love Wanadu, Michael Katsidis, Vic Darchinian, the Hussain brothers, Skinny Hussain, Husky Hussain. I sparred. There's no one that I haven't sparred, to be honest with you, in Australian boxing. I've sparred with absolutely everybody, I remember years ago I sparred with, a lot of up-and-comers, Rowan Murdoch. I sparred with, Jack Brubaker. I've been in the ring with a lot of them.
You've had them all, mate. Your brother, Yusuf Dib, is now the Australian super lightweight champion. You are his manager. Please tell us what's next for young bro Yui.
Oh, mate, you know what? The kid's got it all happening. You know, he's a tough kid. He's determined. He wants to become something special in the sport of boxing. He wants to follow in my footsteps, and we're just trying to guide him in the right direction. You know, make the right choices for him. Obviously, Billy is his trainer, and you know, I'm helping sort of do the management sort of things. But you know, it's just COVID at the moment. It's really affected his, you know, the journey for him. But you know, we're going to look at people like you know, Stephen Spark. We're going to look at people like we want to put him in with the you know, with the Brewbakers and Sparks and stuff. You know, the kid's only, he can make junior welterweight, but you know, if need be, we need to move to welterweight, then we'll do what we have to do. But we just want to give the kid the right opportunity. Obviously, we're gonna guide him along correctly, so that when his opportunity comes to fight for a world title one day, he'll be ready.
Okay, well, look, Billy Dib, we'll cut it there, mate. It's been an honour having you on the show, mate. It really has. I've had you on in the past, but we didn't dig deep enough, did we? We've dug deep today, I can tell you.
No, thank you very much for having me, Paul. I appreciate it.
It's been an honour having you on Billy, and thanks for the interview. And we're going to go to a break with this song requested by you, and I love this one myself, Measure of a Man.
Thank you.
It's a great song, by the way.
Thanks, Paul. You're a legend, mate.
You are too. We'll catch up soon, Billy.
For sure, mate. You take care. God bless.
Sure, shout for lunch too.
Done.
See ya, buddy.
See you, brother. Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.